Hi everyone, welcome to our second video in our video tutorial series for flowcharts. I decided to spice it up a little bit today and stand. I have a standing desk. I like to tell myself that I got a standing desk because it's easier on my back and it makes me feel like, you know, I'm not sitting all day, but really I got a standing desk because I have cat problems. So I'll just show you right here. That's Huckleberry in my seat. And of course, rather than, you know, move him and use the seat, I'm just going to go ahead and stand. So let's start talking a little bit about what I'm going to talk about in this video today. Right? This is going to be a really quick video on using one of the free online resources that can help us create a flowchart for this assignment. So the first one that we're going to take a look at is Visual Paradigm Online. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen with you. And we're going to start at the article that I'm having you read for today. The article by Warren Lynch called A Comprehensive Guide to Flowchart with 50+ examples. And this article is good for two reasons. The first one is it gives a quick, down and dirty description and definition of a flowchart, what it is, what it does, and some of its main components. But then it also is great because it provides us with, like the title says, 50+ examples of flowcharts. So if we scroll down, we can see all of these examples, example after example after example after example, and it continues on for a really long time. And these examples are awesome because you can click on them and edit the content. And so I'll talk about that in a little bit. Before that, let's just take a look at what Lynch says are like some of the main symbols in flowcharts. Like in my first video in the series, I gave us a description of some of the 4 major shapes and what they do for a flowchart. We talked about the flow line. I talked about what's called a terminal. And here, Lynch calls it a terminator, but a terminator and a terminal are the same thing. They're just that elongated circle which signifies the start or end of a process. I talked about the rectangle that's used to indicate a process. And then a diamond shape, which is used to indicate a decision point. And Lynch gives us some additional information here. He talks about connectors, data, and documents. And the connectors are an interesting idea because what they allow us to do is maybe connect one flowchart to another flowchart that has information in it that's related to that flowchart. Or it allows us to like jump a step in the process. So that might be something you could consider doing for your final manual. If your instructions are like tightly linked together, some of the instructions that you've created for your manual, you might think about creating a flowchart that is, you know, kind of tightly connected with another flowchart. And let's take a look at how that would look. So here we get that kind of basic description of a flowchart, our start, our process, our decision. Here with our decision, that A is the connector, and it's pointing us to go to another place to get information. Maybe there's, you know, another flowchart that has information that's related to this decision. Then we get maybe some data that we're incorporating, a document, and here that A, the connector, is bringing information in from another flowchart as well. So those connectors allow us to either like jump the process, like here, if the decision was no, then we kind of jump and we go to this piece right here, or we can bring in something from another flowchart and indicate that right here with that connector. So I was talking about Visual Paradigm Online, and this is what all of these sample flowcharts are created in. And what you can do is you can click on Edit an Example, and it will take you to Visual Paradigm Online, and you'll be able to edit that flowchart and kind of, put it into, or just adjust it to your own needs. Maybe this one would fit your particular instruction set that you decided to use for the flowchart. So you have the option to, you can come in here and you can, change this out. And so you can, whatever, you can put whatever you want here, and you can change all of these text boxes to match whatever the steps are or the decisions are in your process, right? So in order to save this, you would go to File, and you would click on Export As, and you can click on either PNG or JPEG or a PDF, and they'll save, so you can then upload those documents and submit them for this assignment, and also have them to use when you want to incorporate it into your manual. Maybe you want to incorporate it as a JPEG or as a PNG in your manual. So this Visual Paradigm Online is, like I said, very easy. Now, I'm not an expert in it, but it's kind of intuitive, and you start playing around with it, and you can see how you can move arrows, change them to however you want to be. You can, delete things. So if I don't want that, I just take that away. There goes that box. But this software is relatively easy, and it can be a really great way for you to start making your flowchart, right? And like I said yesterday in the video, yesterday, yeah, I did film that yesterday. Like I said in my previous video on our introduction to flowcharts, flowcharts are read from top to bottom and right down. So we start here, and then we, move down the page and follow it to the right, down, right, down. And so when you start creating your flowchart, you want to start up at that top left side, so you have all the rest of the page to start mapping out that process. Right? And you can, scroll through. I recommend scrolling through Lynch's document and trying to find a flowchart that is maybe similar to what you have in your instructions, to what you might want to create for a flowchart, right? And that will kind of take away some of the work for you. It gives you a starting point where you can just kind of get down and dirty with this flowchart, so you can get your draft ready to submit to our discussion forum for peer review on Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. So this is my awkward, again, description of how to use Visual Paradigm Online. I am, again, not a whiz at it, but it is pretty intuitive, and you really, just once you get in and start playing around with it, I think you will find it really useful. So in the next video, I'm going to be talking about another free online software program that you can use to create a flowchart called Draw.io. And I'll go ahead and sign off for now, and see you shortly to talk about Draw.io.